Hello. Oh, he's back. He's back, everyone. Thanks for waiting. Just watching me. I mean, this is honestly the most entertaining part of this season because it hasn't been fun. Watching me just going nuts, rattling off information, putting together an Emmy award-winning show, and God forbid, it's just me sitting in a basement voluntarily watching the Bearcats, making a damn fool of myself because why not? As if that wasn't enough. Welcome to Chatterbox Bearcats, everyone. Typically, I run the post-game video. That's just not going to happen. Why would I play a hype video after this game? Instead, you know what's going down. 3 times the Bearcats have played the Iowa State Cyclones in the Big 12. 2 in football, 1 in basketball. And every time we're playing the bagpipes after. Bearcats just getting ragdolled left and right by Iowa State. This one is tough. The way that this one went down is the hardest part about it because the Bearcats get off to the hot start. It's the circle of life for the Bearcats, the cycle of being a Cincinnati fan. It's an elite first drive where you pick it up on 4th and 1. You pick up the first down, the guts from Scott Satterfield. You score a touchdown on an Evan Pryor catch and run, or actually it was a read option. Great read option. Flip at the right time. Pryor takes it in there. So you have the elite first drive, then you have the offense that does nothing the rest of the game. Literally nothing. I mean, 7 points, 5 minutes in, they score 10 the rest of the game. The defense plays a good half, then they turn around and give up a bunch of points. Complete collapse down the stretch that makes this one 34-17, the final score. The special teams wasn't very good. It's just rinse and repeat. It's plays like that fake quarterback power RPO pass that shows you why Iowa State is an 8-win team and why Cincinnati's going to need one more to get to a bowl game. Think the Tebow play. You go in, that power, and then you pull it back out. You look down the field. Brendan Sorsby had Evan Pryor wide open, missed the easy touchdown by 5 feet. I don't know what to tell you. You can't miss the layups. He missed the layups. Then on the other side, Iowa State, they connect on theirs. They had 20 yards of green grass, north, east, south, and west, just like the Bearcats did, and they score that way. And it's all right if, because we heard a lot about capes in this game. Hero ball. That was kind of the storyline against West Virginia for Brendan Sorsby. Tried to play hero ball, held on to it for a little too long. Today, it wasn't much hero ball until it was late in the game. Bearcats trying to make a game out of it. It's Sorsby in the red zone, takes off, spins, trying to pick up an extra 1 or 2 yards, and what do you know? The ball pops free, Iowa State lands on it, and they score again. So it's the cycle of being a Bearcats fan. There's shades of glory. You see greatness in the team, or you see a team that's pretty good, and then you finish it, and you wonder how the hell Joe Royer and Xavier Henderson and some of these offensive weapons that the Bearcats have do nothing through the air. I mean, Brendan Sorsby was 11-19 for 66 yards in the game. Now, rushing, 13 carries, 136 yards, and a touchdown. He looked like Michael Vick out there. And Corey Kiner, 14 for 86. I mean, the Bearcats imposed their will on the ground. 34 carries for 249 yards. That's not the issue. And the pass blocking sure as hell wasn't the issue. It wasn't like West Virginia where Sorsby had to make tough decisions. He was sitting back there. Nothing. I mean, I don't know if it's the receivers not able to get open. I don't know if it's the turf, which we did see in effect a lot of the game. Scott Satterfield even alluded to it before this one, that Iowa State has the dumpiest turf in all of football, and it affected the game somewhat. Now, I didn't get the bird's eye view. I wasn't in the old press box with some of the scribes, but I would imagine there was some slipping and falling on some of these routes, and that's why the Bearcats were not able to get open. But it's now been a reoccurring issue after a Texas Tech game where Brendan Sorsby looked like, he was going to be playing on Sundays sooner rather than later. Instead, it's turnovers, and it's a game where he goes 66 yards, 0 touchdowns. You can't have it if you are a Cincinnati Bearcats fan. You cannot have it. It's tough, man. And what's tough is I searched on Twitter for anyone talking about the Bearcats, someone upset, someone to vent with, and there was just nothing. Takes me back to Keith Williams I had him on a show a couple of weeks ago. We talked about when the basketball team during COVID was doing awful. John Brannon's second year. And Keith would search Bearcats on Twitter, and he was just like, damn, no one cares that we're losing. No one's even tweeting a word. That's how I felt with Bearcats football today. I mean, they're still packing 40,000 at Nippert Stadium for these Saturday games, but we're not getting to watch much offense, that's for sure. Put the offense on a milk carton now. I hate to say it because he's been so damn good for most of this season, but let's bring in some competition for Sorsby this offseason. Everyone's talking about how Sorsby's going to leave UC and he's going to go to Alabama, or Penn State's going to throw some money his way. Hell, let's bring in someone to compete with him. At the end of the day, I mean, he's the quarterback. He's had some of the issues in the last couple of weeks. He's the one throwing short. He's the one missing receivers. He's the one fumbling. I mean, I still think he's the guy and hope he's the guy for the Bearcats' sake, but it's not been good. I mean, Joe Royer in the game, 2 catches for 8 yards. He was like our Kelsey. We're talking about how he's going to be a superstar playing on Sundays. I mean, the safety blanket for Joe Royer has not provided any safety. And again, I don't know if it's their separation or Royer's just not finding them. We got to go back and look at the tape. But only one receiver today had over 15 yards. It was Tony Johnson, 3 catches for 43. So not good. And then on the Iowa State Cyclone side, they have more of a balanced attack, a.k.a. it was rushing the ball. 24 carries for 234 yards. That's nearly 9 yards per carry. Just dicing up the Bearcats defense. And then through the air, Rocco Becht, pretty good game. 24-33, 234 yards, 1 TD. So when we said entering this year, or I guess through 5 or 6 games, a game or 2 into the Big 12, that Brendan Sorsby was one of the top QBs in the Big 12. It's now 3 straight weeks he's been outplayed. Colorado, back up to West Virginia, to Iowa State. It's not good, folks. It's not great in Bearcats land. I will say I did like Scott Satterfield going for it on 4th and 1 at their own 34 on the first drive of the game after we had just been shelling him for being way too aggressive, not conservative enough. That leads to their, only points of the first half on the 4th and 1. The savage move there, a beauty of a drive on the opening drive. Finished off with an Evan Pryor touchdown. But that was it, man. The slip and slide field. Sorsby would have scored a touchdown had the field not been in play. He was running free. He had a 40-yard rush regardless. I mean, we mentioned 130. But, man, we were behind the chains for a lot of this game. The penalties were bad. I mean, what was the final number overall with the penalties for Cincinnati? It was 13 for 87. Can't have that. I mean, overall, Cincinnati gets outgained just 33 yards. Box score looks pretty similar. Nothing crazy. Final score does not look similar. It's a double-up job. 34 Iowa State, 17 Cincinnati. Bearcats have to win one of their final 2 games to be bowl eligible. 2 games. We got TCU, last game of the season. Next up, Kansas State on the road. Kansas State's ranked. I highly doubt this team's beating Kansas State. It's most likely going to come down to a final game of the season against TCU to see whether the Bearcats hit their over-under win total. And when they were 5-2, and we're thinking they can compete with Colorado and get to a Big 12 championship game, boy, has the sky fallen since then. Pretty much since Wes Miller and the team stole the hype. Because think about it. That game they beat Ohio State, it was the football team beating Arizona State over the weekend. And since then, they don't pay me enough to do these things. I'm glad I gave you a 5-minute show with no volume. Keeping it short tonight. I'll get to the chat, see what the people have to say. 3 straight L's is not great, Chase. I'll say that. Matthew Myers, the athletic department and boosters have to drop some bags on wide receivers and skill players. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I thought Henderson was that guy. I thought Royer, I thought Kiner, I thought that 4-headed monster we had was going to keep us in some games scoring points. But it's, quite frankly, been the defense that's been more impressive than the offense. Not finishing drives, not picking up third downs. And today, I don't know what the hell happened because the offensive line looked pretty good to start. And it was not good. 5-7 season finish is what we're getting from the chat room. Satterfield has to be on the hot seat. Here's the thing with Satterfield. He's not going anywhere. They're not buying him out, regardless of how the season finishes up. Now, if they went 5-7 and just completely crumbled and it looked like they mailed it in that final game against TCU, I mean, you'd have to start asking some questions, right? We can't go through another year of this. I just told you about the Twitter dilemma. I'm trying to find anyone talking content. No one wants to talk about it. It's supply and it's demand, and no one's demanding the content right now, except for the 19 people that are on the live stream on a Friday night. Hope we gave you some entertainment. Anyways, basketball season's here. The team's excellent. They're 3-0. Dylan Mitchell is a frickin' star, changes the game. Seamus Lukosius can score at will. And hopefully we'll give Iowa State a better run for their money in Ames on the basketball floor this season, because it's just not happening with the football team. We thought Scott Satterfield had him going in the right direction. It changes quickly. Hell, it changed quickly last year. Bearcats took down Pittsburgh in that second game of the season. We were ready to crown him we were ready to build the statue right next to Oscar. Scott in the visor. I had proclaimed it. He was our guy. I wrote him a love letter 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry, Scott. No, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry to you, Bearcats fans, for saying I'm sorry to Scott, because it's not looking good. Scott Shitterfield, we're getting in the group chat. That's when you know it's tough. And I'm the Shitterfield tonight, coming out here with I probably lost about 15 viewers that were waiting for a good show, and instead they just heard me rambling. They didn't hear me. They saw me rambling. That's when it's tough. Houdini's in the chat room, can't even be on the show tonight. Tough sledding all around. I'm going to go upstairs, see what my wife's up to, and call it a night. You guys should do the same. The chat rooms are for wins. We appreciate you hopping in. Basketball season is here, and brighter days are ahead, Bearcats fans. I promise you. It's not always going to be like this. It's been like this for 32 years, but it's not always going to be like this. Someday, we will have nice things, whether it's Scott Satterfield leading the way or someone else. But we live to see another day. I'm still alive. You're still alive. National title, 2026. I don't see why not. See ya, everyone. Chatterbox Bearcats, we're free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts. Kansas State up next for the football team. UC takes on Northern Kentucky on Monday. We'll talk soon. Peace.